Hi there, I'm Lee Brainard. Welcome to Soothkeep and another edition of Prophecy in the Crucible. My mission is truth, particularly truth in the prophetic arena. I like to say that the rebirth of Israel is in many ways a fuse for everything else that's happening in the prophetic arena. Now, in more recent years, we have seen the rise of neo-paganism. We've seen the rise of the same kind of perversion that roiled the earth in the days of Noah. We've seen the rise of horrendous anti-Semitism, and we've seen the global elite rolling out their plan to impoverish and depopulate the world. And we've also seen the population just starry-eyed, glassy-eyed, foggy-minded, not really seeing what's going on. Now, the truth is, if you don't understand this, the New World Order elite are planning to bring economic parity between the nations. And they are going to eliminate all classes in society except for two. They're going to have the vast majority of the planet is going to be the serfs, and there's going to be a tiny class of overlords that are fantastically wealthy and powerful. Now, all you have to do is look to Europe, look to Canada, look to Australia, look to New Zealand, look to America, look to China, and you see this New World Order stuff rolling over countries like a juggernaut. And 3 years ago, who saw this stuff coming? There was only a few prescient prophecy teachers who compared these obscure New World Order trends with Bible prophecy and saw this stuff coming. Some of us saw much of it coming, but there are aspects of this that few of us, maybe none of us, saw coming. At any rate, the pressures that are building in the world right now are expanding bulges on the fabric of world society, and these bulges are starting to manifest explosive events in earth-shaking events. As the New World Order loving powers and kingpins start pressing their New World Order power and influence on this globe, trying to bring their version of destruction. And there's insane pressure that's building for a time of tribulation, far beyond any tribulation that's ever happened to the Jews, far beyond any tribulation that's ever happened to any people or any nation on earth. This world itself is going to be in a time of tremendous tribulation beyond any tribulation it's ever seen in the past. And before this tribulation explodes on the world, the church is going to be taken out of the world. And then that trial is going to explode. So, the fact of the matter is, if you're catching the drift of where I'm going with this, imminence is on the accelerator. Like a kid that's driving a Corvette for the first time. And as the signs of an imminent volcanic eruption accelerate from signs that eruption is in the distant horizon to signs that eruption is on the near horizon to signs that the eruption is immediately imminent, so we are witnessing signs unfold in this world where we see the rapture accelerating from indeterminate signs on that it's going to be somewhere out there, to signs that the rapture is on the near horizon, to signs that the rapture is on our very near horizon. And the acceleration of these signs in their number and in their scope and in their degree continue to accelerate at a breathtaking pace. And this acceleration is probably not going to slow down. And if we're not already on the cusp of the rapture being immediately imminent, we don't have long to go. The preparations just for the Gog and Magog war alone, with Russia and Turkey and Iran and Syria, this should have prophecy students on the edge of their seat, nervous with anticipation, excited with anticipation. because we could be going up very soon. Are you ready for the rapture? Are you living the way you should be living? Is your heart what it should be? Personally, I believe that the rapture could literally happen any moment now. And this is coming from a man who spent the last 4 days as he listened to other preachers say the rapture can happen any moment. And I'm busy shaking my head because there's absolutely no way under the sun that the rapture can happen with the stage setting. Well, the stage wasn't set. Folks, there's not going to be a decade or 2 decades or 3 decades or 4 decades or 100 years between the rapture and the second coming. There might be a few years. It's probably just a few months to a couple years, but not a decade or 2 or 3. And the stage setting for the last 4 decades has not been far enough along, in my estimation, to speak of the rapture could happen any moment. But right now, the events that have happened in the world and how fast the stage is being set, I believe we really have reached a point where it's not unreasonable. It's not jumping the gun to start talking about the fact, folks, the rapture could literally happen any moment now. Now, we mentioned about the window that's going to happen between the rapture of the church and the beginning of the 70th week. And how long is this window going to be? Good men vary from a few weeks to a few months to a few years. The one thing we do know, that window has to be long enough for a believing remnant to arise in Israel and get with God's program and seek Him for deliverance. So the rapture has to allow time. There has to be enough time, in other words, between Gog and Magog and the rapture, so that after the rapture of the church, a believing remnant rises up in Israel, and believing Israel seeks God's face for deliverance from Gog and Magog. That's how much time we need to have. And they are going to seek God, because they're going to realize, when you see the most massive army ever assembled in the history of the world to that point, gathered against Israel, she's all by herself. America and Israel's allies are on the sidelines. And Israel has nowhere to turn but God, and they are going to turn to God. And they're going to cry, "Where is the God of Moses? Where is the God of Elijah? We need you." And God's going to say, "Here I am." And He's going to roll up His sleeves and He's going to go to war. So this question of how soon we go up really depends on things like, how fast is this Gog and Magog situation going to ramp up? And how big is this window between the 70th week and the rapture of the church? Are we going to go up days before Gog and Magog? Are we going to go up months before? Are we going to go up 1 or 2 years before? I really don't know for sure, although I suspect it could be 6 months to a couple years. But at any rate, folks, things are ramping up fast. It's time to make sure the seatbelt of your heart is buckled, because soon we're going to fly. And you're not going to feel the G forces, but you are going to feel the R forces. Eyes wide open, brain engaged, heart on fire. See you next time.